Everyone, this is Richard, and welcome to what we originally called Barrowkeep, the City Immortal, but instead we're using Duke Dark Streets and Darker Secrets system to play this particular setting, which is got a common history with some Barrowkeep games we played on the Gauntlet. This is Gauntlet Hangouts, and I've got 4 fantastic players, as always, on Gauntlet, with the Gauntlet, and we will start by introducing the characters to you, and we'll start with Julietta. Go ahead and introduce yourself, introduce your character, and just very briefly, kind of what your character is all about. We will go through character questions in a moment, so don't feel like you have to do your whole character life path.
Cool. Well, my character is called Julietta. She is an archaeologist in the employ of whatever noble house that we're serving. And yeah, she just spends her time like exploring the catacombs beneath the city.
And tell us who you are, if you don't mind. Tell us
who yes, I'm Will. Okay. I've just started playing with the Gauntlet recently. Mm-hmm. I'm here in Melbourne. It's really cold here.
Well, welcome. All right, and moving over to Allistair.
Hi, my name is Maria. This is the 3rd time playing this kind of game. My character is the cousin archetype, which is based on the tough, but also related to, in this case, the noble spouse.
Nice. Okay. And Victoria.
Hi, yeah, my name's Leandro. I use he, him pronouns. Last time I played a kind of game like this was this time last year, I think. That was my 2nd ever Gauntlet game, and now here, look at that. 1 year later, still here.
Happy anniversary.
Yay. No, I should sound more enthusiastic, but it is late where I am. I'm playing Victoria Spire, who is kind of like the fixer archetype. It means she's kind of like the connection of the senator's house to the seedy underbelly. She's got, fingers and pies, and those fingers are in those pies, basically.
And finally, Otto.
Hey everyone, I'm João. I use he, him pronouns, and Otto is a seer. He was raised like under an older religion that was all about like communing with the dead, and he has like supernatural insights about things. So people usually ask him complicated questions.
Nice. So, João, let's start with the character history questions of Otto and move backwards from there. So, kind of break down the questions that we asked about Otto's history, and let's see sort of what spaces or people come out of that.
All right. First thing I have is upbringing. I was taught by my grandparents, and this is where I got the idea of like my grandparents being a part of this older religion that's like in decline nowadays. And it's a religion where people serve and commune with the dead. For most people, communing just means making rituals, but for Otto, he actually gets in contact with them.
And what powers did Otto learn from his grandparents?
I'm sorry, what powers?
Yeah, what powers did you?
Oh yeah, yep. It's let me see here. Glimpse future, invoke ghosts, and transfer life.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. And let's see. There's a second part with why did you give up your wanderings and return to the city? And my idea is that someone heard about my the actual nature of my powers. So Otto kind of goes low key about his powers. He just pretends he is very smart and sees things other people don't see. But someone important heard about Otto's powers, and they had murdered someone, and they were afraid Otto would talk to that someone and discover they were guilty of murder. So they started hunting Otto, and Otto just came back to the city and figured the walls of the city will protect him for the meantime. And
So
also yeah, go ahead.
what is the name of the person who was hunting you?
Let's say that person's called Balthazar.
Give me 1 second. Google is not always as fast as conversations. Okay. Merchant, noble, university student, someone from far, far away. Tell me about Balthazar.
Okay. I think Balthazar is a merchant, and he murdered a rival, someone who was in the same business.
Nice. I mean, not nice on his part, but
yeah, and maybe he does some sort of caravan thing. So that's why he's not in the city all the time, and I just figured and sometimes it takes very long for him to come back.
Right.
But he might have people in the city, but I just figured that the city is a safer place than out and about.
Right. Especially if he has as many enemies here as you have friends.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me the next question.
The next question is about my reputation in the city. So Otto, everyone knows Otto from as coming from humble beginnings and from the countryside, and he's not open about serving this old religion, but people kind of suspect, and they try to play him down for being this no one from a rural area. But Otto really thinks he's as worthy of respect as anyone else in the city, even the people he serves. So yeah, his reputation is as being very politically liberal, I'd say.
Who is, and we'll figure out more about this person when we generate a little bit more information about the city, but who is a politician that you either admire or fear, one or the other? That's essentially an outspoken liberal firebrand or a conservative nemesis.
Yeah, I think that would be. Let's see. I'm really bad with names. I need a name. So, but I'll say. Yeah, it's a conservative. It's a conservative politician who has kind of totalitarian inclinations, and they're trying to gain more power in the city. And one of the things that they're doing to try to get more power is to eliminate voices that go against them. So Otto is a little terrified of this person and their collaborators.
Right. I'm going to throw a couple of name generators in the chat to help out with, if you'll give me just a second. And then
All right. Yeah, I'll come up with a name real soon. I'm just like looking through some name generators here. Let's say this is Lord Egbert.
Lord Edward. All right, nice. I'm going to put 3 in our Slack chat channel, just so you have them on hand.
Okay.
Or not just you, but everybody. So everybody has them on hand. I should have done that earlier. So thanks for bearing with me.
So yeah, my last question is, what new reasons have I found to trust Julieta?
Okay. And what was the answer to
Julieta
that question in broad terms?
So
Or what was the
I'll
prompt
say,
that generated?
yeah, Julieta stood out for me when no one else would. And let's say there was some sort of altercation in a public speech, and people were not too afraid of like harming an old man, but Julieta like got between these people and Otto, and then Otto like wasn't harmed in that situation. So
Nice.
Otto knows he can trust Julieta because
Julieta,
of that.
does that sound about right to you?
That sounds about right. I'm curious, was this like an altercation related to the conservative politician who's what's his name, Lord Edward?
Yeah, I was thinking it could be something like that. Like maybe Otto was like debating someone on like a public forums of sorts, and people got like the arguments got very heated, and people started like getting a little too physical.
Nice. Okay. Does that sound about right to you, Julieta?
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right. All right. I'm just going to finish up that portion of the map.
And I didn't speak about my complication.
Okay. What is your complication?
So I think my complication is a secret. I'm in a relationship with someone, and their reputation would be ruined. And I'm thinking this someone is a religious leader from like the new popular religion, and they couldn't be in like, well, their reputation would be harmed if people knew they were like in reputation with someone who speaks with ghosts and stuff like that.
Oh, nice. Do you have a name that you can give me?
I'll have a name in a second.
Sure thing.
And that's for some reason I ended up in Dutch names, and I don't know how to pronounce them. So
oh, that's okay. I was just throwing a few up.
All right. Let's say that's Bishop Bruno. Bruno House. Like that.
Nice. Okay. He, him?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. All right. Otto with 3 NPC relationships is on the map. Finally, Otto, one other NPC relationship I'd like you to pick. And we don't have names for these people yet because we don't know much about who they are. But when you came into patronage by the house as a psychic, spiritual advisor, seer. Whatever kind of patronage you got from the house, did you get it from the spouse, the senator, or the heir?
Let's say from the spouse.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And we will find out who that person is shortly.
Right.
All right. And we go back over to Allistair. Allistair, walk us through your...
You skipped Victoria, but...
Oh, sorry. So Victoria. Sorry. Victoria, I apologize.
No worries. All right, so let's go to where the fixer is. There we go. First question is, what was your former life before the senator's house? And I got pleasure, which means new people, new lovers, new rivals, new substances, new experiences. Yeah, basically Victoria is someone who didn't like to stand still. So as soon as she got a chance to get out of the Immortal of the city, she did it. Part of the abilities I got is that I could have an alternate trade as part of an ability, and the one I picked is entertainer. I think outside of the city, Victoria moonlight as an actress. I think she still does that now. And so melodrama comes to her very naturally. Specifically, she likes tragedy. She's absolutely the type who, if she finds a balcony and it's night, she will absolutely start brooding at the sky. That's kind of like her go-to thing. And yeah, she doesn't like to stand still. She knows a lot of people, a lot of experiences, and partially she incorporates that into her trade of being an actress and also being a fixer, because you gotta wear a lot of masks, gotta wear a lot of faces when you're dealing with a lot of people. And sorry, Maria's calling me out in the chat there. All right, hold on. I'll just move on to the next question before I start arguing at her when she's just on the chat. Yeah, the next question is, why did you give up your wanderings and return to the city to seek employment? And when I got to Shaken, something recent has reawakened memories of an awful time. Insomnia is haunting you, and even when you wake, your hands tremble. You know that it's time to reconnect with your home in the city. And I think the weird thing is, I think those memories of an awful time is probably the first couple of months when she left the city. She left with some sort of traveling troupe, and although she tried to hide it, she was quite homesick when she first left. And she just left most of the people she knew. It was on a whim, on a gamble of the sort. And as much as she tried to forget about it, those first couple of months, playing as an extra or just someone who had to take care of the horses for this theater troupe, it was a very lonely time. And that time was starting to creep in recently, and she was getting detached again from the people she knew. And when you try to meet a lot of new people and make new experiences, it all gets really fleeting. So it's getting hard to find footing. It's when she kind of realized she needed to go back.
Okay. So who in the city is someone you knew from your time as an entertainer?
I think there is the next question answers that, but I'm going to make up another NPC, not just the other one. I think she knew an old veteran actor, used to be a professional clown. or at least that sort of actor. But she probably knew him when when he's not working much anymore. He's in his cups. He's very much a Falstaff type,
Right.
just jolly and merry and witty, but tired and down and out, so to speak. Let's see.
Who is this actor?
Let's see. I'm flicking through a name generator as well. Nope, that's not good. Their name is Roscoe McLaughlin. Or at least they say, yeah, he says that's what his name is. And I'm sure if you talk to like older folks, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, Roscoe McLaughlin. Yeah, he was somebody."
All right.
Or at least that's what he told me. He told me that if you talk to other people, they'd say that.
He was somebody. Victoria, what's the next question?
Yeah. What old mentor commended you to the senator's service? I got an aristocratic confidant. Whether intentionally or not, this old friend taught you the subtle art of getting your way. Yeah. This was my biggest fan,
Okay.
so to speak. My biggest fan, not just because I'm really good, but because I also helped her out in terms of knowing people that she probably should know, because she needs to be, high. She needs to be aristocratic and on a pedestal. But it's nice to know your actor friend who can, also knows a few, cut purses down the street, could help you out in that regard. Her name is Josephine Chance, or Joe to her friends. The lady of the Chance family. Apparently, the story she told me is that her ancestor changed their name to Chance just in case, like, we need to get a bit of that luck. And apparently it worked out because they became like a fairly major house a century ago. Now they're a bit more decrepit. Their house is a bit crumbling a bit. It's still all right. Like, Joe tries her best, but they could do with a bit of help these days. But Joe is very good at like getting her way, and she taught me a few tricks, so to speak.
Did Joe introduce you to the spouse, the senator, or the heir?
I think the senator. I think she's trying to flex her muscles. It's like, we'll just go straight to the senator. We need to go through their appendages.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah. And
what's that final question that happened?
Yeah, the trust bit. You trust all of your house colleagues. What reason have you found to especially trust the friend to your right, which is Otto? I rolled perceptive. They recently steered you out of a bad situation you didn't know you'd gotten into. What was it? It has to be something supernatural and ghost-like, right? Because I think, I think Victoria is quite down to earth. In some respects, obviously she's melodramatic in others, but ghosts are not her forte.
Otto, how do you feel about something supernatural? And do you have any suggestions or thoughts?
I think it could be something supernatural or something that's not supernatural, but that Otto like glimpsed in the future for Victoria.
Or discussed with a ghost.
Yeah.
It's not innately supernatural, but it's something that a dead person would know about.
Yeah. Like, I'm trying to think. Like, maybe this is like when Victoria just came back to the city. Is trying to, remember who's who she has to deal with, and she probably mentioned to Otto, probably because she was trying to brag about what what she did to him, that she's off to like reconnect with some family. I don't know. Maybe you should go to the hot springs. Anyway, yeah, she was reconnecting with this family she knew back when she was here. Like, what's it called? What's it called a family?
The dress falls.
Always include address falls.
How did that
Oh.
lead to the need to connect with a ghost?
I think it's more the case that maybe a ghost of like that family, because they've all been kind of fairly wiped out by some sort of enemy family. It probably warned Otto and told. Actually, no, not a ghost. Not a ghost of that family. A ghost of their victims. Actually, no, let's not kill off the dress falls. They're still alive, and they've become a bit more ruthless. I don't know what that. Lissa's influence didn't last. Yeah, I think it is like I was about to try and reconnect with this family, and maybe the ghosts of their victims warned Otto, passed on the warning to Victoria. It's quite bummed out that they probably don't like her or would probably wouldn't have anything to do with her, but she'll take heed of his advice.
But Otto saw a dangerous situation before it quite got there. What was the danger? And either of you can chip in on there, as long as the final result is okay with both of you.
I don't know. I'll say Otto had a vision that wasn't very clear. Otto saw that that meeting would lead to like some knives in the dark situation.
The ghost had ulterior motives type thing?
Yeah, the ghost, like maybe the ghost showed what happened to them when they got involved with that family, and Otto just assumed that was Victoria's future if she were to do the same.
Mm. What was the ghost's name?
Look at my list of names. Rosemary. Just Rosemary.
Yes, 1 second. Let me get a... And just for fun, so let me type ghost. What's the given name of Senator Dressfall?
I have a name, Elia.
Elia.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Everyone good with what we've got so far? No? Awesome. Moving back to Allistair. Allistair, kind of walk me through your character history a little bit. I know that you are the half sibling of the spouse, and have you connected with the spouse? But what else do we know about you?
So let's answer the first thing, because apparently I was in the country, and I was to return to the city due to my father asking me about it. I'm not sure if my father is the same. I'm assuming it's the same parent as as my half sibling, the spouse, or is that incorrect? Or what is the
Say the question
core
again.
assumption?
Say the question again. I'm sorry.
Like is the father the common ancestor? Oh, you're muted.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry. Your father is the common ancestor of both you and the spouse, though I'm assuming the spouse may be a good bit older than you.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I think Allistair is in his 20s, if anything. So yeah, I do believe that they are older. So and yeah, I was to return to the city to take place in the house to advocate for his interests, according to the relationship map.
Nice.
My family's house is Featherfield.
And what is your father's name?
Let me look at Arsen.
How do you spell that? Or you can type it in.
I'm gonna copy paste it from the name generator.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
Then my next question is, how did my family make its fortune? The answer is religion. My family had temple offices and benefices and the protections of the pontifical class. People paid well for access to religious rites. So, considering that my half sibling is connected to Otto, I'm assuming this is the newer religion, if that's correct. Or yeah,
It doesn't. It
or like I'm gonna, just to make it simpler, like, and so like there would be a reason for the spouse to be connected to Otto,
right.
like officially, if they're just doing the family practices.
All right. And what's the last question there?
Oh, second to last.
Second to last. Sorry.
Yeah. Now that you're here, what's your reputation in the city? I rolled charitable. Whether you do it for the good of others or for the business connections, you are known to contribute and organize for those less privileged. I think that ties in back to the whole religious aspect.
Nice. Okay. Who's a charitable connection you've made? Somebody who often works with you on philanthropic work.
I think it's Lisabeth Duhamel.
Can you give me a
That's the name. She is the like a sort of secretary for the church.
okay.
I think, like a treasurer or something. So I would like donate directly to her.
Perfect. All right. And what's that last one?
Reasons you have found to trust a friend to your right, which is Victoria. That's her name, yes. And it is quick. The reflexes in that alleyway kept things from getting worse and ensured you both got away. What do you see?
What did you see in that alleyway? And this could be something very supernatural that Victoria led you away from, or it may be something mundane and vaguely scandalous.
I think I can tie that to my complication as well.
Mm-hmm. What is that?
If a draw is okay with it, I think I saw Bruno do something mildly scandalous, maybe with him.
As long as you keep it a secret.
Yeah, that's why it's secret. That's why it's a complication. Yes.
Sure.
All right. One sec.
Maybe swap.
Once. All right. So you know some things you need to keep secret, and you are implicated in them.
Yeah, pretty much.
But how did that? That's good with your complication. But what was the threat in the alleyway? Let's branch out a little bit beyond who we've already identified, and find out something about the city.
About what specifically in the city?
Who was threatening you in the alleyway?
I think some.
Again, it could be supernatural, mundane.
I think it's just some detractors, since or maybe even Lord Edward's followers, since part of the new church. And he's like an instigator, if I'm getting this correctly. And
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did we touch on Victoria's complication? I forget.
Victoria, what is your complication? Tell me about it.
It's promises. Someone you cared for was hurt or killed after a series of strange occurrences. You vowed to find the truth, ensure that anyone behind their death gets justice. Just about enough to create another NPC. It might be Rosemary, actually. I think before I left, I made a flippant promise to her to I'm just gonna go out, gonna get rich, see life, come back and get you out of here. You can stop working for the Dressfalls. It's gonna be A-okay. Cut 2 years later, I come back and all right, I'm gonna meet the Dressfalls. I'm gonna get Rosemary out, and that's when Rosemary comes to Otto, who's now a ghost.
All right, so we're gonna go sad right away, just right out of the gate.
Yeah, sorry.
No apologies, you know. It's not like I have a reputation for causing gay entanglements right out, during character creation. So it's, let us see. And I think Allistair, we're going to move over to Julietta. And cool. Would you introduce us to Julietta?
Yeah, so Julietta is an archaeologist by trade. She's, I think, someone in the house is kind of like her patron. She doesn't really make any profit from her work, but it's prestigious for the house to have someone who is exploring the catacombs of the city and basements. That was my first role. Where's my character sheet?
And what was you said you loved archaeology. And that was sort of your first love.
Yeah. What drew you away from your two fathers' society crowds and toward your mother's love of history and books? Why do I have two fathers?
I assume because that your father married someone else, or there was a divorce.
Okay.
You may be able to answer more about that. So.
Okay, so I've got two fathers who are like high society, I guess.
Or something at least money.
Yeah. And then there's my mother, who is divorced, and she loves history and books, and specifically, I think maybe my mother worked in like some sort of library, and that was my beginning of archaeology, was like exploring the basements of the library.
Nice. I'm going to put a space for Julietta. Sorry, I did not already done that. So Julietta, so your first love was the spaces sort of below. What else did you learn during character creation? One question that I should like just clarify for you on your character sheet, that should have one other field of study that you are specialized in, and that is like that's like a bonus concept for you. So you'll want to note that as well. But you don't have to tell me right now. Just I just want to make sure you didn't miss that. So what's that second question for you?
The second question: what old mentor commended you to the house's service? And the answer I got was my adventurous aunt. My aunt taught me to hunt, camp, fish, and understand the natural world. So I'm thinking maybe after my mother got divorced, after my parents got divorced, I was sent away to live in the country for a while.
Okay. And who is your aunt?
Let's see. I think she's my mother's sister, and yeah, I think she's like a woods woman. She's a bit of like the kind of, not the black sheep of the family, but she's a bit odd because she moved away from the city and she went to live in the woods.
What is her name?
That's a good question. Where is the link to the name
generator? If you look at the Slack, I put up 3.
I can't see them.
One second, let me make sure they're still there. And you look at the chat we were in?
Yeah, I'm looking at chat. The last thing I can see is the link to the roll for your party room.
You know, I put it in. Now I have to figure out where I put those 3 links. Well, that's embarrassing. I put them in a different chat.
It's all good.
There we go. So some local friends now have links to Fantasy Name Generator, and they're probably very confused. There we go.
Okay, here we go.
Sorry about that.
Manx name generator. Female names. All right, my aunt is called Gin Norris. I'll put that in the chat. June Norris.
Perfect. And what's the next question after that?
So, what's your reputation in the city? I rolled outdoorsy. You're known as someone who enjoys recreation in the country for hiking and other outdoor activities.
Perfect. Who is? Let's see what that third question is. Or that is your third question, correct?
Yeah, it doesn't really have a question attached to it. It's just
Okay. Or that's what's your reputation in the city was the third question. And I think what I want to know then is what place nearby do you go get, or do you go hiking?
so somewhere outside the city.
A forest, a mountain, a plateau.
Yeah, I think there's a mountain about a day's ride from the city, and there's like some ruins at the top of the mountain that I've been visiting sporadically when I have the time to get out there.
What is the name of that mountain? Or what's the common name of that mountain? It could just be an animal name stuck with mountain or.
Yeah, I think it's called Bear Mountain, Bear, because there are bears there.
Oh, nice.
People aren't very imaginative with naming things.
Finally, which of your fathers is in the city right now? Possibly not permanently located, but in the city for the season or political purposes or mercantile purposes.
I think it's my stepfather.
Okay.
And
you're gonna guess I'm gonna want a name, I'm sure.
Sorry?
Oh, you're gonna guess I'm gonna want a name, I'm sure.
Yeah. Now let me see. He can have a Catalan name, maybe. All right, his name is, I'm going to copy and, yeah, his name is Pau. Pau Pol Lombard. I don't know why there's a comma in his name. I guess that's some sort of grammatical thing, but I like it. Pau Pol Lombard.
All right. Thank you. And I think the last question I'm going to ask before we sort of go to creating the city and the family. I take that back. I think I answered. I asked that last question. Everybody's got at least 2 relationships. Oh, I know the last question. Complication. What is Julieta's complication?
Her complication.
You skipped over the thing to the right.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sorry. What happened between you and Allistair?
So let's see, where is it? When I was ill and likely disastrously contagious, my friend was frequently by my side. What had made me sick? So I'm thinking, Allistair, your character comes from like a religious background. Is that right? Your family?
Yeah.
Is that the old religion or the new religion?
It's a new religion.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think I was like investigating some of like the basements below like a church that you maybe your family doesn't own the church, but you're affiliated with the church, and yeah, just like exploring these basements, opened some sort of casket that had like an ancient disease in it, and yeah, like I don't know, like kind of like smallpox in a jar or something like that. And I got really sick, and a lot of people were like, "She's a goner. Just leave her because we don't want to get infected with this disease that's been gone from the world for hundreds of years." But Allistair was like, "We hired her to do the job, so I have to take care of her." And fortunately, I survived, and the disease didn't spread any further.
All
For
right.
now.
Oh yeah, seems legit.
Finally, Julietta, are you connected? Not finally, because I still want to know about those questions you have. But are you connected when you got your patronage? Did it come from the spouse, the senator, or the heir?
I'm going to say the heir just because no one else is connected to the heir yet.
Okay. All right. Glance, and then what is the secret, or what are the questions that are complicating your life?
Let's see, that's the complication questions. You've seen things that you want to know more about. What did you see that made you want to know more? What have you learned so far?
It could be the basement of that temple. It could be the ruins on top of the mountain.
I think what I'm really interested in is the period of history when there was the transition between the old religion and the new religion.
Okay.
And the connections between them, because I think there's a lot of people who have like a very black and white like idea that they're completely separate religions, but some of the things that I found in that basement of the temple to me implies that there was like some continuity between the two religions that has been lost to history.
Okay. All right. Everybody got their 2 die rolls, correct? And I should look at you guys so that I can see you nod or shake your head. So let's start. With Victoria, you are specially tied to the senator. So pick one of your die rolls, and if you don't like the result, you can take it back and we'll switch to the other die roll. But who is the senator?
Okay. Let's see. My die rolls are a 4 and a 5. They're the khaki ones at the very left. Yeah. I think just because we have quite a lot of dude NPCs at the moment, I'm gonna go with number 4 for the senator. A young, ambitious duchess seeking to stake her reputation in new ventures, recently elevated after a family loss, sought after in society, and beloved by the merchant class.
And now you know I'm going to want a name.
Yeah. Oh, why did I take out my name? I have a list of names somewhere. Hold on. Let's see. I've used that name. Teresa Morrow is her name. For some reason I keep coming up with names that are kind of like themed. Like, oh, a young ambitious duchess. Yeah, her name's Morrow. Seems appropriate.
All right. Allistair and Otto are both tied to the spouse. Do either of you have a preference?
I
on
would
whether
rather
you-
draw to it.
All right. So let's see. I rolled a 2 and a 4. Um, let's go with 4.
Okay.
A matronly and affectionate wife, doting step-parent to the heir. Neither she nor the senator currently has a paramour, though there are rumors of their past. And I know you want a name. So let's roll a name. It's this one. It's Hendrika Robert. I'll paste it here.
One sec. Therefore, Allistair, why don't you tell me where the house is located based on one of your die rolls?
Question: would she be Robert because Featherfield is her father, or would it be?
It may be that she's, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I'll just take Robert out.
If that's okay with you, Joao.
It's totally fine. I didn't realize there was a family name there.
Yeah, I had forgotten that too, so thank you for catching that.
No problem. House. I got a 5 or a 4. So let me look.
Take your pick.
I will choose. I'll be boring and choose comfortably within the fashionable quarter. It seems in character for the senator.
Perfect. And Julietta, who is the heir? So you'll take your 2 die rolls and kind of pick off which one you want off the heir table.
Okay, so I got 1 or 3, and the heir table is here. So, university student or a pleasant but distracted son with an eye. I'm going to go 1, an assertive and self-involved university student with ambitions to dominate governance of the realm through the Senate.
Perfect.
Numerous lovers, but no acknowledged paramour.
All right.
And they're kind of like, let's see. I'm going to have to go back to the name generator. Their name is Conradi. And last name, I guess, would be Morrow. Are they the heir to
Yeah.
Conradi Morrow?
Yep. One moment. So I'm going to actually fill in pronouns as I clean this map up. As I apologize for running out of room and not getting them on everything. So if before next session, if you see me sort of misidentify anyone pronoun wise, please correct that. So that our notes are a little cleaner and neater. Let me see real quick. Scrolling down. Who would like to use their remaining role to decide the nature of the capital? And there'll be one role left over that I apologize that I don't have anything to do with yet. But if you have the role left over, I'm going to give you something. Anybody for the capital? Or I can pick. We will snake back around to Julieta and then move back across. What's your remaining role, Julieta?
Oh, it's sorry. Forgot you were talking to me.
Oh, that's okay.
Yes, my last role is 3. Actually, that's pretty good. Yeah, I like a port city on a small sea with many low-lying neighborhoods prone to flooding.
So my habit, sort of informed by some of the source fiction that I referred to when I was sort of developing this, is to refer to the capital as the capital throughout.
Cool.
So that we never worry about what the official name of the city is, nor of the overall countryside.
Can I add a little detail to that description? That not only is it prone to flooding, but it's actually just like the whole city is slowly sinking into the sea, a bit like Venice.
Or
so that's why there's so many catacombs for my character to explore. Is actually that it's just like previous iterations of the cities that have sunk into the silt and been built on top of.
Are there canals as well?
Yeah, I think so.
So one thing, it also adds some urgency to your work because the sea will ultimately consume some of those things that you're exploring. All right. The government, I will sneak back around and pick on I will sneak back around and pick on, sorry, Otto. What's your remaining role?
I forgot to turn my microphone on, but that's okay. My remaining role is at 2, so it's an elected ceremonial monarch directed by the Senate.
All right.
Also, keep in mind that I have not used either of my roles. So
did you not? I thought we used your.
No, you used draws for the spouse. But I like that. I want to take the factions anyways.
I thought you picked the. I'm sorry. I thought you picked the Senate. I'm sorry. Or I thought you picked
the house. The house. Never mind. I'm dumb. Sorry. I forgot about that.
And finally, who of the two remaining folks would like to pick the factions, and the other will have a special question?
The factions. So, which one did I pick for the sporing house? That's of course I have a. All right.
Well, that's another way to do it. Is what numbers do we have left between you?
I have a
and-
5, and Leandro, what
A
do you have?
5. So it
Oh,
doesn't
okay. So it doesn't matter.
matter. Well, it matters because one of us is going to get the special question then.
Do you want a special question?
I'm sure.
I mean, I also want it, but like.
Okay, I'll define the decadent societies. You get the special question then.
All right. Thank you.
Decadence movement, scandalized society, and the Senate seeks to extend power.
That's why they're in the boring ass fashionable corner.
One second, let me get that in there. Leandro, give me a couple of names you associate with the decadence movement.
There's this group called the Opal Ocean. They're ridiculous. They got these masks, and they spend a lot of time with jewelry. Like they say, "Oh, we can just buy credibility by buying lots of jewelry and embedded our masks. We're great." That's
Do they parade? Do they host balls? What do they?
They are. They're more. I guess they're more like rich. There's this movement in IRL called Dada, which is basically like anti-art, but they're like rich people. So the whatever social bite they're trying to get is meaningless because they're just really flaunting their world, saying, "Oh, we can create art about anything that's not really art, and we can do it because we're rich." That's the Opal Ocean.
Being rich is the greatest art form.
Oh, the luckiest.
What other name do you associate with the decadence movement?
This group called the Cants. That's in the word can't. That's in the contraction can't. They're called the Cants. They are they're snooty folk. They dress soberly. They love the class. Okay, I guess they're not that decadent. I should pivot.
Are they the anti-decadence?
Yes, yeah, they're so anti-decadent. They've been folded into this society. Their noses are permanently upturned. Well, that's what they look like. They're very much people who they are aesthetes or aesthetics, but they have like a very specific standard of aesthetics, and everyone else in the city is just not. They're failing. They're not holding to these high standards. So they're kind of snooty literarists, I guess.
They're snooty classicists.
Yes.
Yeah, they like old styles of art.
Yeah.
All right. We'll find out more about the Senate maybe. But Allistair Featherfield.
Oh
God. I would like you to name 2 places or people who are resources for your group. It could be we have an inn that will hide us if we're in trouble. We have something like that. Just two sort of resources that you have in relationships in the world. People who trust you, people who, and this is for your whole group.
All right. There's there's my character's lover, who is Singer, Trevorrow, who owns a let's say he owns a tavern. Let me find tavern names since you made this more difficult. uh, the Blackstream Inn or Blackstream Inn. Let me type that in chat.
All right. And name one other.
Another person or place.
Uh-huh.
All right, let's go with. Daniela Pierce.
Okay.
And she is a nun who I confess to, and I trust her implicitly.
Where is the temple she's in? What is the temple name?
Temple name generator. Is there a temple name? Yes. This website. Oh my god, some of these names. Monolith Abbey.
Nice. Okay. All right. Thank you. Any changes or adjustments you want to make to your answers or to the relationship map at this point?
Yeah, can I make a small adjustment to my relationships?
Sure.
Yeah, just with Power Lombard, my stepfather, I was thinking it would be more interesting if actually my two fathers and my mother were like in this kind of like plural marriage relationship. So they
Perfect.
were all married to each other, and that's like pretty common in our culture. But
Right.
then my two fathers divorced my mother and kind of left her destitute.
Okay. All right.
So I might just change his name just to father instead of stepfather.
Perfect. Okay.
We want to point out that the bishop's name has been changed.
Yep.
On air, so yeah.
Yep. Anything else people would like to change?
Nothing comes to mind on my end.
All right. So it is the night before a warm season summer festival. You are in a city in a world that knows the supernatural exists, though people have varying degrees of understanding about why it exists, how it exists, what the meanings of the supernatural are. So that's, in most cases, supernatural events are not themselves dramatically challenging your notion about the world because they're supernatural. They may, however, dramatically challenge your notion of the world because they don't conform to the way you expected them to play out. While they are not inherently super common, of all sorts of supernatural events are not inherently super common. You know, there are strange creatures who are in the streets of the city. You know that there are there are people who do wondrous and strange things. And you know that there are occult and magical societies throughout the city. So let's so the night before, we're going to begin on the night of the summer festival, but the night before the summer festival, what do each of you think you would be doing on the night before a festival? There could be seeing a private relationship. It could be out with friends. It could be exploring places that you cannot get into during the day. And thank you, Maria. I also forgot to say when I introduced, we'll be using lines and veils for the game. Does everybody understand, or has everybody heard about lines and veils? Okay, so we'll be using lines and veils for the game. So if there's things that you just do not want included, please list it under the lines. If there's things you would like to, you're fine with including, but would prefer not be necessarily on screen, please list it under veils. If I've got a kind of a question over about what's kind of included there, we'll ask some clarification. In either case, please don't feel like you need to speak up. I put them onto the character keeper specifically so you can fill them out anonymously. And also you can expand on them anonymously if there end up being questions or areas. If you see areas that are aligned or veiled that we start to include, please don't hesitate to shout out or to give us a gentle call out to kind of keep us back on track. And I'll give you kind of a second to look at that before we sort of continue on. And then does everybody understand sort of the X card? Everybody's used the X card before? I know that one sort of general limitation of the X card in online play is that it doesn't, most ways of using it, other than sort of saying the word X card aloud, frequently get missed because people are either not looking at cameras or are not looking at the sort of one of the screen tools that we use. I encourage you, if you're comfortable with that, go ahead and use just use the word X card, either in the chat or in by speaking it aloud. That way we're ensure that everybody catches it and sees it. If you see somebody else use the X card and we miss it somehow, please help them out by just kind of giving it a quick reminder that it was used. Even if we use the pop-ups on the die roller, it sometimes gets missed. So help each other out there. So between those two safety tools, those are kind of the safety tools in use. Does anybody have questions about those? And as always, this is a Gauntlet Hangouts game, and the Gauntlet inclusivity policy is something we're going to abide by. And finally, I think, thanks for filling in those lines. As things come up, this is not a fixed document. As things come up, feel free to add things to it. If you see somebody add something to it, and I've not necessarily caught it, or you're afraid I wouldn't have caught it, don't hesitate to give me a reminder. It never hurts to do that. And again, one of the advantages of doing this is that people don't have to feel like they're on the spot to explain what they're lining or veiling. All right. So the night before the festival, and I picked on Allistair last, so I will kind of start in the middle of the keeper right now and start our process with Victoria and go right from there. Victoria, what were you up to last night?
I think Victoria was out in the because she knows that probably whatever rehearsals they're doing for the summer festival have already done. So most of those people or those performers or anyone who's working the festival are having one last drink out before they have to get to work the next day. So she's trawling through the taverns or whatnot. She'll probably end up at the Blackstream Inn to see what's the buzz, what's the interesting deets happening in the city, before if there's anything interesting that might she need to keep an eye on.
Okay. And this will be a montage thing. It'll just sort of, a little bit like the intro session for Beyond the Wall. It'll be a quick montage that'll involve one, maybe two rolls, just to kind of get a sense of things, odd things that happened the night before. Otto, the night before the summer festival, what are you up to?
Well, since during the summer festival, Bishop Matthias is going to be busy, Otto and Matthias met up the night before. They were at an undisclosed inn, just having a drink in a private quarters, and talking about the festival and their own stuff.
Okay. Julieta, the night before the festival, where were you?
I was up all night researching and actually going back and forth between my study and the church library, carrying books. I've got a key to the back door of the library because I'm there so often.
Is this Monolith Library, Abbey?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
That's the one that we're kind of associated with, Monolith Abbey. Yeah, they've got a lot of old records. They're not really sorted in any way, and I'm only allowed to take a few at a time. So that's why I was going back and forth.
Okay, so I'm going to give them a separate, and I'll explain this what I mean, but I'm going to give them a separate library die, separate from the specific die that I'm going to give them. And then finally, Allistair, dare we ask, the night before a major festival, what is Allistair up to?
I am confessing like you're supposed to be doing before the festival. So yes, I am also at Monolith Abbey.
Nice. So there's a few different things that this is kind of a good a chance to introduce mechanically about Dark Streets and Darker Secrets. The first is that all from your luck to your resources. Oh, and I forgot to ask a question real quick before I proceed with what I was about to say. Maria, one of your resources is a 3-point resource, and the other is a 4-point resource. Which is the 4-point resource?
Wait, out of luck and money?
No. Out of
Oh.
the Blackstream Inn or Monolith Abbey.
Oh. I'm gonna say the inn
Okay.
is 4 points.
All right. Sister Pierce, Sister Daniela gives you a penance, Allistair. As you have finished making your confession, and then leaves so that you can perform your sort of penitential rite. I'd like you to make an agility check in this large, empty, sort of central temple of the Abbey. As you hear Daniela sort of seethe in anger and throw something.
I fail. I rolled a 15, which is over my 10.
Right. So those ability checks are you want to roll equal to or under your stat score. If you have a concept that applies, you will add that as a you'll use that to sort of give yourself advantage or a positive die on the roll, so you can roll twice and get. But in this case, it was just straight up agility. And what is your total agility score?
10.
10. So you get a 15 over 10. So higher than is 4. So you reach sort of one of the great southern door of the central temple, and you see an overturned font filled with a mixture of like water and wine that from what you were hearing, somebody threw it, and it was thrown at the door very quickly, and there's kind of that mixture of kind of sour wine and water all over the floor. And there's other signs of scuffle. Some flowers set out for the festival have been overturned. Candles have been overturned and gone out. And the southern door of the temple is open, which you would expect, and Sister Daniela is not there.
All right. I will.
So let's cut back over.
Oh, okay.
And like I said, this is a montage portion. And Julietta, you are in the Abbey Library, which you have keys to. And what are you researching?
I'm going through like old religious texts, a lot of which are like not necessarily canonical to the religion anymore, and I'm kind of comparing different editions to be like, okay, so this text borrows these lines from this, and trying to like I'm on the trail of a document that has been lost, but there are traces of it in it being copied into other documents.
So you're in the midst of the stacks, it sort of sounds like. Does that sound
Yeah.
about right? Or are you sort of, yeah. You're in the midst of the stacks, and there's no coherent organizational system like we would expect today. In most cases, books and scrolls and documents are organized by size and general type. So loose leaf papers are shelved with other loose leaf papers, and scrolls are shelved with other scrolls, and tall books are shelved with other tall books, which is a terribly efficient system if you have somebody to guide you through it. So, but it's a terribly inefficient system if you're on your own. So there's a lot of searching and hunting. When you hear a sound from a row of shelves on the other side of where you're standing, and I would like you to roll physique as the shelf starts to tilt towards you.
Okay, so I'm going to roll 1d20. Roll. I got a 9, so I'm trying to roll under my physique, right?
Right, you want to roll under, equal to or under?
Yep, so I succeeded.
All right, what is your physique?
It's 14.
14, awesome. You are, for a scholar, hella buff.
Yeah, I got like just everything I rolled was like +1 physique, +2 physique.
You are you were sort of raised by outdoorsy people.
Exactly.
And spent a lot of time crawling around in dangerous areas. You're able to catch the shelf with your shoulder and right it, and you hear the sound of wings, like bat wings, but very large, as the window is broken and knocked out. And it's night. It is night in a city that does not use a lot of electric lights or a lot of street lamps of many. When you look, there is not a lot to see after you sort of get the shelf up. You hear the sound of bat wings.
Damn, always chewing on the books.
Very large bat wings.
Maybe not one of the regular
Right.
bats.
Yeah. And not large like fruit bat size large, like large like a
Man size.
possibly. And there's many, when the shelf started to tilt, there are now many spilled books and documents in the stack.
Oh well, they can't really get any more messed up than they already are. So I'll right the shelf and put everything back into its slots.
Otto. What do you want to discuss with Matthias. Am I saying that correctly?
Yeah. Good question. I think we're maybe talking about. Let me look at the relationship map. We can find some sources for gossip. Oh, maybe we're just talking about how Lord Edward is trying to influence his church, like through like generous donations and stuff. And I'm really I'm telling Matthias he shouldn't accept the donations, and he says the church, well, he's arguing that the church needs all donations they can get, and so we're on a discussion about that, I guess.
In your discussions, he mentions a property purchase. Now, this is, a little less like Catholicism, a little more Roman religion. So, even more entwined with the Senate and the monarchy. He mentions that Lord Edward was behind a recent acquisition of a sacred property from the Senate in the name of the monarch. And as a senator, Edward was in prime position to know about it. Make an intellect check.
All right. I forgot my intellect is 12. All right. I passed.
Nice.
Yeah. I rolled a 5.
A 5?
Yeah.
You were pretty sure you know where this property is. And the interesting thing to you is it was not particularly associated with newer religions. It was particularly associated with the old religions.
Mm-hmm.
And it was not one of those gods that the old religions revered. It was one of those gods the old religion was trying to appease and keep out of their business. So it was not.
Okay.
It's not the notion of like we find this god admirable, but we find this god, is a powerful deity and needs to be kept away from us. Give me 1 second. It's a god named Samolus. I'm gonna put that on our map.
Right. And to like as a practicing person, like from that religion, all I know is that this god is like not a nice god, All right.
Semmelus is both territorial, jealous. He would make most of the Greco-Roman gods seem like nice people.
Mm-hmm.
Territorial, jealous, and a god of fear and of the wild parts of the underworld.
Okay. So yeah, I guess I'll just like register that information, but not try to dig deeper. I'll just save it for like doing my own personal investigation. I also don't want like Matthias to suspect.
Perfect. All right. And finally, I think we'll end with this here. Victoria. Go ahead and tell me a little bit what, who you're talking to at Blackstream.
I think. Oh, go on.
Yep, that's go ahead.
Okay. I think it's. I wander and just kind of like, this is where we're gonna hang out, and I see holding court there as always is good old Roscoe McLaughlin. Could hear his voice even like a street away, and I walk over to him to just talk idle chatter, and I think from what I'm hearing when they get close is like he's talking about how back in the day you didn't have electric stage lights. You had to dance the boards by candlelight, so to speak, and how that meant that your performances were just that bit more expressive. You had to act to the back of the stage, but now with all these lights, you don't really even really need to have to do that. All these youngsters just like coasting off the modern day, and I'm like, Jesus. Well, okay, Jesus probably doesn't exist in this world. Great.
You begin to see a strange light around yourself and around the inn. And then the light begins to fade slightly. As Roscoe seems certainly disturbed. And the inn is lit by a combination of table lamps and gas lights. So there's kind of a slight haziness, and the windows are open. But you'd swear for a moment that somebody is turning down the lights. And it's almost like you can see Roscoe realizing the same thing. And then it looks for a moment like the lights are putting off their normal brightness, but it's not spilling out into the tavern room for some reason. I'd like you to roll your willpower.
All right. Ooh. Didn't beat it by 1. I have willpower of 11, and I rolled a 12.
Would you, and this is a specialized use of luck that I've come up with. Would you like to test your luck?
Sure. I got an extra luck from somewhere in character creation. I'll do
So
that.
if you beat or if you miss a roll or otherwise would like to adjust your natural number on the roll, I will let you test luck. Remember that if you hit a 5 or a 6, your luck goes down and there's no result. But if you hit a 1, 2, 3, or 4, you can adjust the roll by up to that amount in a direction of your choosing.
Fab. So I just roll d6.
Yep.
Cool. I'll do that. Ah, darn, that's a 6.
Your luck is down to 3. The room gets darker and darker and darker as people begin screaming slowly, not quickly, and sort of running. You're physically okay, but I would like you to take 4 points of sanity damage.
Why do I feel like this happened to me last time I swear? Except last time it was horses who beat me up.
Yeah, I that's why I posted the horses in chat. I noticed that exactly.
They did physical damage, and before you know it, most people have fled the inn. And you hear just the sound of laughing, like somewhere echoing from very, very far away, as if you were hearing somebody from a great distance chuckling in a space of absolute silence. But somehow this faraway laugh just sort of echoes over the sounds of people fleeing the Blackstream Inn. And with that, I think I'm going over a little later than I wanted, and I think we're going to end there for the night with that montage of the night before the festival. We will be back next week with a full regular narrative session of Dark Streets and Darker Secrets in Immortal City. And it was great of you all to join us. I'm going to stop the broadcast and have that debrief with our players.